Happy 2015, everybody. It's Podcast Unlocked. Probably the world's #1 Xbox podcast.
Maybe. I
hope so. Haven't checked lately. If not, Major Nelson, congratulations. Yeah. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. Welcome to the new year. To my right, the great Destin Legary, back from the wilds of
the
Canada.
North. The wilds of the North.
Yeah.
The Great White North.
You went home to the motherland.
You went to
the
Canada.
mothership?
Yeah.
Mitch Dyer to my left.
Yeah, I just thought you were going to go to Wisconsin or something instead.
I went there also.
Oh, okay.
I go to Wisconsin, then I drive 7 hours to Canada.
Horrible.
Yeah. Mitch repping the Detroit Tigers today. You're looking like Tom Selleck in Magnum P.I., except without the cool mustache or the Hawaiian
very
shirt.
Young Tom Selleck. Was he a Tigers fan in that
Maybe
show?
a few.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, he wore a Tigers hat. And
you look
Mitch
like
is
you're
young.
committing a crime or trying to prevent one undercover. I can't really tell.
You look like Edward
nobody
Norton in Undercover in that one movie.
We still don't know if it is.
Starring Edward Norton.
Tweet at us what that movie is.
Edward Norton
Edward Norton
movie.
could be in a movie called That One Movie, and you know,
Probably is.
With Cameron Diaz. That one movie.
That one movie with Edward Norton, and Cameron Diaz, coming soon, sometime.
The unfamiliar voice, maybe familiar to some of you.
Possibly.
The newest IGN employee, the one, the only Max Scoville. Welcome,
Hi.
sir.
Great to be here.
Formerly of Destructoid.
Formerly of Destructoid, formerly of Rev3 Games, formerly of the Destructoid show, produced by Revision 3, formerly of Destructoid before that. It's a long and sordid story full of really not interesting things, but you know.
Currently of IGN.
Of IGN, and it's exciting.
You're ours now.
And currently of The Comedy Button, which
Yeah.
is your fantastic, hilarious podcast that you do with Brian Altano.
Yeah.
And
Also
some other IGN
a
and
bunch of IGN
alumni.
alums,
Yeah.
Yeah. We had you on there recently.
Yeah,
We
I
talked
was.
about
You
the
got
car.
kind enough to have me on over the holidays. If you haven't heard it, look up the Comedy Button. It's episode 159 is the one I'm on, and then you've got 158 other much better episodes
I
to
wouldn't
listen
go that
to.
far, but you know.
141 was pretty good.
But here we are in this room. This is so exciting. This is my third day at IGN.
We've been putting you to
Well, what do you make of us
Did they
so
set up
far?
your email yet?
Yeah. It's weird though because I have a I've been using a MacBook for I feel like I said MacBook on a Microsoft podcast. I'm gonna get flamed.
They're coming after you.
The Microsoft ninjas have already decapitated you. You just haven't felt the pain yet.
No, but I've been given a PC with a sort of a peripheral keyboard, and I'm like. I feel like and it's on a standing desk that's not quite tall enough for me because I'm an abomination, and I feel like if farm animals learn to type, I'm got these weird.
I think you could have requested a Mac.
I'm going to, but I've had other things. They've been putting me in news videos and podcasts and meetings and things, and it's very exciting. But it's bizarre to be in such a big gaming outlet where everyone is aware
Everybody knows your name.
Yeah.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I know some people's names, but it's fun. I mean, like Rev3 Games is a really small outlet, so like that was like me and I think 7 people who were on the game side, and the rest of the office was like the rest of the cafeteria, like giving weird looks to the D&D kids, pretty much. So like I
know
don't
that look.
I'd be walking down the hall with a big old Saints Row dildo, and they'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
Working.
Don't mind me.
Working for a living here.
Got a review to do." But, you know. But it's fun.
So let's get to know you a little bit for a few minutes. You're just sitting in for the top of the show.
Sure.
Before we escort Sean Finnegan back here, Marty is on assignment. He is. I think he's doing off of a hover skateboard at CES right now.
Yeah.
I think that's probably what Marty's up to.
Is that what you do at CES?
That is pretty
so,
much
yeah.
what goes down. But yeah. So Max, how long have you been gaming? What are some of your all-time favorites? We're going to be seeing you. You're a host here at IGN.
Yeah.
So whether it's various shows or news videos or get used to this face, he says on the radio.
Hi, hello. If you're watching the video,
They won't be.
Yeah,
They're listening. They're all
can't see
listening.
you. They're not watching it. But yeah, I've been gaming. I mean, I only '90s kids will remember this one.
I'm with you.
Super Nintendo, anyone? No, I grew up in the '90s. I was really poor growing up, so I didn't have my own systems for. I think my first was a Game Boy Pocket, which got me Pokemon, and I was very sad and alone. But I had my Eevee.
But you caught them all.
I caught like 37 of them, and then my game broke, I think. But anyway, I grew up playing lots of different games. My favorites of all time, if I had to just go off the top of my head, I would
Desert
say
Island games.
off the top
Max
of your
Scoville.
head?
off the top of my head. Did I say it wrong? Was it?
No. I'm just surprised. Like
Oh.
I have to think and list them.
I mean,
out.
I get asked that enough that it's like there's a few.
There's like
kind
five.
Yeah, there's a short
like
list,
a rotating
right?
list. There's like a bag of them. It's
Yeah.
not like a top
In no
five,
particular
but
order,
I'll just grab 5 out of the
these.
bag,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
like Scrabble tiles.
Okay.
Let's say Indiana Jones: The Fate of Atlantis, Secret
Interesting
of
pick.
Evermore,
Nice.
Far Cry 3,
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 2, and oh shoot.
Now, did you play Zone of the Enders just for the demo?
Oh God,
I like Zone of the Enders.
Just for the Metal Gear demo.
My best friend bought Zone of the Enders just for the demo. I think he played Zone of the Enders, and I was like, no, thank you. I will be playing.
I'm good.
Yeah, that was like the prequel to Ground Zeroes in a sense. That was like the original, like I mean, if they had included the Ground Zeroes demo with another game that maybe Konami was trying to move, I think that people probably would have bought that game just for Ground Zeroes.
Dance Dance Revolution 2415.
Police Knots HD.
Yeah.
PES.
Yeah, but that's a handful. I love that game. I've often said that is my favorite Metal Gear game is the tanker demo from the Zone of the Enders. Just the demo disc.
Yeah. Tanker part.
It was a great game.
Yeah.
What did we do over the holidays, guys? We had 2 weeks. Finnegan and I came in here and had to talk Halo. We were compelled.
Oh no.
Which, see, that's what happens when I'm at home. If I were traveling, like to see my parents, but I couldn't resist. I was playing the Halo beta so much. I love it so much. It's really fun. So that's really all I did was I had the Office Space vacation of I did nothing and it was everything I hoped it would be. Played Halo every night. Had a good time. Destin?
I played a little bit of everything. Of course, I played Destiny. Yeah, well, obviously. I also played Halo. Really enjoyed it. I think that game, it's kind of like a necessary evolution.
I agree.
For the franchise. It had to happen. I think there's some tweaks that need to be made.
Of course.
But it's a beta.
It's a legit beta, not a marketing beta.
I played Tales from the Borderlands. And it was really funny.
So good.
The game is surprisingly great.
So good.
Yeah, like I was like, well, I want to try something different, and I tried it out, and I was very surprised. And I can't wait for the next episode.
So are you a big Borderlands guy? Like, are you into that? The regular series? Or?
I had to do the guide for 2, and I played 1 a little bit, so I like it. Like I thought 2 was funny.
But you're not like a nut for the series.
No.
Would you? So I'm kind of indifferent. Like I've played a little bit of both of them, but I think I've seen like a screenshot for Tales of the Borderlands. For whatever reason, I just wasn't covering that or just had other things going on. But I'm kind of curious because I do like the world. I just don't really like the other gameplay so much.
Okay.
Would you recommend that at all?
I'm going to make you read the
100%
editorial that I
yes.
wrote about this.
Huh?
I said I'll make you read the editorial that I wrote about this.
I don't want to, Mitch.
Read my words.
Tell me
it's
stories.
It's all I have to live for, Max.
Yeah, but I think that's. I think it's interesting that Telltale's doing that. Taking this. There's nothing that says that Borderlands has to stay a shooter. Really, you can do a lot with that universe.
Well, they're turning
give it a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I have no attachment to Borderlands. It's not that I dislike it, but I just never grabbed onto it. But man, that adventure game episode, at least the first episode, I feel like it's the best first episode that Telltale has done of anything other than maybe Wolf Among Us. Had a killer first episode as well.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
Can I give a spoiler warning and talk about my favorite part? Well, not if you're going to... I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah,
I'll just say the knife part when you're in the museum. It's just like
Pretty good.
Little text part that had me like rolling on the floor laughing. It was great.
Nice. Raffle. Rafflecopters.
You were raffling.
Mitch Dyer, what were you up to?
I played 0 Xbox games, but I played through the Monument Valley expansions, and that game is ridiculously good. If you haven't played it, it's on iPad. You can get like 5 hours of gameplay out of that game for $4. It's incredible.
That's sweet.
Play that. It's the best. Got home, and in the first...
Is it the sequel to Gone Home? Or...
yeah, went home.
Prequel?
Yeah, after I got home from going home, I played some Gone Home. No. I just stopped. In the first 72 hours of 2015, I played almost 30 games of Dota. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Mitch.
I played so much, it was disgusting.
We all have our addictions.
You're like a lapsed addict. You're like you were off on the wagon for a while.
I had to go home. I couldn't play, and I came back, and I was like, well, time to make up for lost time. Had a Skype call that was 14 and a half hours by the time I hung up. It was all Dota all day. It was the best.
So we were sitting and waiting for a live stream thing we were doing to start, and you just trucking away with watching somebody else play Dota, and I came up, and it was like, it's like when I asked my dad about football or something, and he knows that I don't really care, and not really going to understand it, and so it's not really, you were like, this guy's sort of a cracked out Skeksis, and I was like in the Dark Crystal, and you were like, yeah, whatever. Good enough, I guess.
Good talk.
Yeah.
He was a wizard.
Yeah. Speaking of wizards, I've been trying to romance some of them. Been playing Dragon Age.
Still playing
which I
that?
hear is a pretty hot game.
I'm so scared to play it because I'll lose all my time.
Yeah, no, so I bought it for my fiance, and I was like, because she's into Fanta crap and Whimsalore, as I like to call it. I'm more of like I occasionally do like fantasy stuff, but I get really sucked into it without meaning to, because I'm like, I don't need to play this Bioware game. I got other aggro stuff to do. We go play Muscle Man sports ball game. Gun shooter 3D.
What I'm hearing is you're more of a Fallout guy than an Elder Scrolls guy.
I mean, I love Skyrim to death, but I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably.
Says the hypocrite.
I'm very excited for. I put it this way: Dragon Age has made me really excited for the next Mass Effect, and I was like kind of on the fence about it, but I sat down and I was like, I'll give this a shot, and I've been watching a lot of Gilmore Girls, so my character is Rory Gilmore. She looks like Alexis Bledel, but with elf ears and like a weird face tattoo.
Where's Lorelai?
Yeah, and I figured that what if instead of going to Yale, she went through the veil, and that's a joke that 4 people will get. But anyway, I've been playing that, and I was just kind of, sort of a throwaway character. I'm like, I'm gonna play this and see what happens. And then I looked at my save file, and I've been put 18 hours into it.
You're too far gone, Max. You can't turn back now.
Yeah, and my fiance would be like, what? So she wouldn't ask me. I'd tell her, I'd be like, so I don't know what to make of that game, because that's what I do. I'll be like, let me tell you something about this game. And I'm like, I don't know what to make of it. And she's like, how much have you played? I'm like 18 hours. And she's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, you can try to make out with the ladies in it. It's exciting.
Well, it is. Dragon Age is one of our 10 Game of the Year nominees, our 10 finalists, which we're announcing very soon.
Like this week.
This week, or maybe is it next week? I don't know. Very soon.
My write-ups are due tomorrow, so I think it's this week.
Well, tomorrow, whatever. Anyway, very soon. So we'll have that announcement. And then I guess on maybe next week's show, then we'll each say what we voted for.
Yeah.
Because
Dota 2.
Yeah.
Again.
That's didn't come out last year.
Oh, I voted for it anyway.
One of the write-in ballots.
Yeah, other.
Ron Paul 2014.
Well, Max Scoville, it is good to have you here.
Yeah,
glad to see your face around IGN on videos, shows, live events, what have you.
You'll be hearing my Rob Paulson sound and voice all over the noises. Do I sound like Rob Paulson, who did Raphael and the Ninja Turtles?
I don't hear Raphael.
In my head it does. It's great.
You say Rob Paulson.
Whatever
we were
works
talking
for you.
about Fight Club before the show started.
His name is
Ron Paulson.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
On that note, we'll be right back with Sean Finnegan and the news. Max Scoville, welcome to the team. Great to have you here, my friend.
Thanks.
We'll be right back. All right, let's get to some news. We got some big news, surprisingly.
I got some news about In-N-Out.
Yeah, on that note, so
soon.
The big thing, of course, we talked about it leading up to the vacation, leading up to the holidays. I and myself, Marty, refused to believe that this Xbox One sale for $350, $50 off these bundles was going to actually end, despite the fact that Microsoft had very clearly worded it that way the whole time. It went back up to $400. Sale's over, so if you didn't get one, you now have to pay more than you would have a week ago. I don't get it. I mean, I really don't. I just don't understand. Well, talk to me, Destin. What do you think is going on here?
It makes total sense. They just wanted to get that holiday market, right? They wanted to make that money on the holiday, get people talking about their platform.
Right.
And now you missed the sale, but you still want to play with me, right? Come and play. Word of mouth advertising.
But do you think? Okay, so say a kid gets an Xbox One, got it on deal over the holidays, bundle. Says, and he's got his buddy hooked. You think the buddy's going to want to go out and pay $400 now?
It's $50. That's the rationalization.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, when you're
that's a lot of money.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
But
at the
you're
same time,
13,
you're 13.
you're not
you don't
buying
have
it.
$400. You don't have $350.
Yeah.
No, but it's harder to justify $50 more to your mom or your dad or whoever.
Yeah. At the same time, the conversation isn't, I got this thing for $350. You should buy one too. It's, hey, I got this thing and I like it. You should go buy one too.
Yeah.
I'm of two minds on this. I'm on your side. I can't believe they lowered the price and then re-raised it. But at the same time, it's like, the goal of the sale was probably just to boost the sales for that limited period of time.
Of course.
If you're not, if you got an Xbox during that time, then good for you. You got it on deal. But if you're still interested in getting an Xbox, you probably, if you didn't get it during that deal, then you probably don't know about the deal now, right? Like people buying it a couple months from now won't even know that this deal happened. So it probably doesn't matter.
I mean, it's a promotion, right? If you say, hey, for a limited time, it's cheaper, then you are more incentivized to buy it at a discount price.
Right.
If you bring it back up, hey, the discount period is over, you've missed your chance. But think of it like this now. Like right now, the Xbox One is on a temporary price hike. It is at $400 for now. Like
Until E3.
Exactly. months from now, it will be back down to 350.
Again, I don't think Microsoft pulled the wool over anyone's eyes.
No, I mean,
they were very clear, but I simply don't get it. I mean, when they did beat the PS4 in November, which is what they wanted. December, we'll find out, I think, next week, right, Mitch, is when the NPDs come out?
Next Thursday.
Next week, so that'll be very interesting to see.
But initial reports are saying that Xbox did outsell PS4 in a couple of locations. Also. Yeah, December as well, because of this sale.
But PlayStation sales were recently revealed. They were at like
18.5 worldwide.
18.5 million.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's outpacing PS2, PS3, pretty much, anything Sony's done.
It's very close to Wii. It's still behind Wii, but it's right behind it.
But again, it goes back, for me, it just goes back to what I said on this show before the break is, it's one thing to put it back up, but for me, it just takes the wind out of the sails for the next price drop, presumably at E3, when Phil Spencer walks on stage, and now you can get all these cool things that we've talked about on a system for only $349, then it'll be like... wait,
so you
mean exactly what it was at the holidays, guy? Yeah. Anybody?
But still, a permanent price drop is significant. If you say, hey, now this is permanently at $350, that's still, that's an impressive sale price during the holidays. It's also an impressive sale price permanently when you do it over the summer.
Is it, though? I mean, here's my question to you guys. Do you think they have to go lower than $349 when they cut the price for real the next time in order to gain back that momentum?
No, because Microsoft has never done that. What Microsoft does is A, release new models, and B, release bundles. So what they'll do is at $400, you'll get the machine as it is now plus a bundle, like the AC bundle, right? It'll be something to that effect. But then the core machine by itself, like no Kinect, whatever, that's what will get price reduced. You'll get the machine for cheaper, but I think you'll get a bundle for about the same price.
Interesting.
I could see them announcing a new model.
The Slim?
Yeah, like a Slim or something smaller.
It'll have been like 2 years by then. By the time that thing
year
launches,
and a half.
Yeah. By the announce, it'll be a year and a half. But I think if they do one for fall next year, like for Halo 5, you get a slimmer Xbox One, Halo 5. Like that's 2 years at that point. It's getting to the point. Like when was the?
It wasn't for a while. It was 2010. So it was 5 years.
5 years. Yeah.
5 years.
Because we got the Elite before that, and we got all these special edition models with Halo 3.
But yeah, I mean, we did a story on this show and on IGN in the fall of some AMD guy on his LinkedIn had said he worked on the smaller nanometer, smaller chip system on chip for Xbox, and then he had updated his LinkedIn to no longer have that information on it. But, so we know, and of course we assume that's in the works anyway. So yeah, I mean, I would agree with you, Mitch. I think a Halo 5 special edition slim system makes a ton of sense. But so I guess maybe that leads to my next question for you guys is, when do you think we see the next price cut? And I'm going to say price cut, not a sale. When do you think the Xbox One price goes below $400 again? E3, holidays, somewhere in between?
E3.
E3?
Yeah. I just feel like that's when they're going to do it. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of interesting announcements this E3.
Yeah.
One I would like to see, and talking about a new model, maybe bring it up, is like I really can't wait for the next iteration of the UI for the console because it's still pretty convoluted.
Right.
I really, really hope they're working on it.
Well, yeah, there's an event. I think there's a Windows thing coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, Windows 10.
Yeah, the window, which that would seem like a natural time to maybe reshuffle if they're gonna do any crossover stuff.
Yeah.
Microsoft's been moving towards unifying their
OS
UIs and their OSs for a long time. But the problem is you have resistance on both sides, right? Like the Windows people who've been using desktops don't want the tile-based system because it's not the desktop.
Right.
The people who've been using the tile-based stuff on Windows phones and Xbox don't want a desktop. It seems hard. Like, can it just be separate products? Yeah, I actually disagree with this, and I got used to the UI on the Xbox One very quickly. Like, it's just tiles. It's actually very simple.
I think the tiles make sense, right? Like, it's clean and nice to have just boxes of what you have, but at the same time, I still don't know how to find something that's downloading. I have no idea.
Or how do I use a code without a Kinect? Without saying Xbox use a code. Oh, it's buried over here. I
have to actually look at the instructions on the back of those pages all the time.
That's why I don't know how to do it, because I use Kinect commands all the time.
Me too.
I do too.
Because I don't know how Xbox go to game download. Like, I guess sometimes, then I then I go where I'm going.
But yeah, what you were saying, Sean, about unifying, Microsoft unifying their UIs for a while, I'm very opposed to that.
Yeah.
I just don't think it makes sense to crowbar one style of interface onto a device that doesn't necessarily make sense for.
Yeah, controllers
like
operate different than a mouse.
Windows Phone is by all accounts a great UI, but it doesn't necessarily work on a Windows desktop or on an Xbox.
Yeah, you do. They're different machines, and you're doing different things on them. So the way you interface with that needs to be different. I think. I think that's what makes good design, right? Is when you take what am I doing with this machine, and how do I best do that? You can't design one OS to do two different things. I think.
True. So getting back, go ahead.
Sorry, never mind.
I was getting back to my
totally
original
another
question.
UI thing.
Yeah, no. Just to circle back. So we heard from Destin. When do you guys think? So Destin says E3
of this year?
of when we're going to get the next drop in price on an Xbox One. Mitch, I'll go to you.
I'm sure it'll be E3. They'll announce. It's available $350 or less, probably $350, and it's available starting right now.
Yeah.
Well, what they can do also is and that price drop will start this fall if they need to make it wait. But
that's what I was going to say. I'll bet you the price drop comes in before holidays.
No,
this year,
there's no world in which they announce a price drop and it is not active that moment. Because when you say we have a cheaper console coming 6 months from now, nobody buys consoles.
I think E3's too early. I think
when do they do it? Gamescom?
Could be
TGS?
Not
TGS. Before the holidays.
Yeah.
Maybe at a later convention.
It doesn't have to
that.
be at an event necessarily.
Could be a
They can
press
just
release on Tuesday
put it out
morning.
there.
Or it could
That's
be at
true.
the
They did that
Microsoft
with the price
Experience event.
The one we talked about that they should have before the holidays there.
Inaugural one this fall.
Yeah.
X15, bro.
Yeah,
Bringing
there
it
you
back,
go.
son.
I think, I don't know. I think E3 is too early, and I also think a lot of while a price drop announcement is never a bad thing for gamers, I think gamers want to hear about just games at E3, big game announcements, new games, and that's it.
Well, good price news is never bad. I mean,
oh, totally.
Because you go back, I was there. I was in the audience at the Xbox press briefing for E3 2013 when they had, I thought, a pretty good conference, a lot of cool games, system stuff, and then at the very end, Xbox One will be available this November for $499, and the whole room just $499,
Yeah.
and then of course Sony later that day $399, knife in the gut.
Yeah.
So, but good price news definitely has a place at a conference.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, I let off that thought with a price drop announcement is never a bad thing.
Sure.
I just think one, I think it's too early for E3. The console still feels very new to me, right?
Yeah, it's changed
does
a
not
lot.
feel like I've had that thing for a year.
Yeah.
Some change.
And if I was Microsoft, if they're selling well, then I wouldn't be in a hurry to drop the price, even if it would get it to sell better.
Normally, I would 100% agree with you because at the end of the day, you'd think, okay, it's just about, the fans think, it's about Xbox versus PlayStation and, who wins.
Yeah.
Where, you think, well, really at the business level, it's just, are we making sweet profits?
Yeah.
Regardless of what our competitor is doing. Except for the fact that Phil Spencer on the show, when he took over, said, I want to win. Those were his words. So I've been holding him to that. It's okay, well, if you want to win, why the hell is the price going back up to $400? That's what I don't get, and that's what I'd love to ask him next time he comes on.
It's probably a marketing thing too, right? The way I look at it is if I'm going to make a big announcement like a price drop, like a permanent price drop, I want to time it for when people are most likely to buy those consoles, which is the holiday season, right?
Yeah, so based on what you're saying, are you getting it maybe that they figure, well, they're probably not going to sell a lot of consoles in January, February, so why not just put it back to 4 when it's not really going to make, it's going to have a softer impact on the bottom line? Is that?
Yeah, well, those first 6 months, I don't imagine that. I wouldn't say that console sales taper off because it's they increase for the holiday season. They're not tapering off coming back after the holidays.
Yeah,
it's just returning to regular.
But it's human nature. Yeah, January and February are usually lower unless a console has just launched, which happened a year ago.
Totally.
January, February are usually pretty, low console sales numbers.
Right. So if it's me in the businessman chair, I would say okay,
I like
well,
this is
that's
you
a nice business.
There's a man chair?
yeah, exactly.
This
is what the man looks like.
arm
That's as good
wrestler.
as
Yeah, exactly. If it's me if it's me making those decisions, the way I look at it is okay, well, if I'm selling X amount of consoles all the time, regardless of the price and regardless of the holiday or any other thing that may boost the sales, it becomes more about when and how I can market it, right? I want to have more games to market, which would be post E3. I want to be talking about the games at E3 anyway, and not necessarily consoles or sales or all that stuff. And then holidays is when people are looking to buy their kids or their family members or their friends or whatever, things like that. And that's when I would want to say, oh, by the way, this is when that console is going to be the best deal. That's when I would want to buy it. So it seems like a natural fit to do it in the holidays for me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
It's also Xbox One as it is now is not a bad deal. It's $400 for a machine, a bigger hard drive, and 2 games in one bundle right now. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And there's, by the way, like after this holiday, it's a great console to have right now. I mean, between Sunset and Halo and the criminally, I feel, overlooked. I think Forza Horizon 2 has been just so overlooked by
that game came
most.
Out.
So
Everyone
good.
came out at a terrible time.
So
everyone
really. I mean, it was the end of September. There was really nothing else. It just got overshadowed by everything else that came
Destiny's time.
Everyone I have talked
Destiny's
to said
been out for
that
a few
game is
weeks.
great. I'm just not a racing guy.
But you don't have to be.
Yeah.
It's just a fun. It's a
But
drive.
I mean, I'm not a racing game guy. Like the last racing game I played was San Francisco Rush.
That game
Coin op.
64. That's a
But
great
I want a
game.
goofy racer like that again.
Yeah.
If you missed out on that sale, I bet you feel like it was gone in the blink of an eye.
Where's that?
While we're on the topic of Blinx.
God.
That was really good.
Yeah,
I was waiting for it.
That's why I was so
really good.
quiet.
Welcome to 2015, everybody.
Damn.
That's why I
Destin
was so
Legary
quiet.
back in
Right.
action.
Bringing in the new year.
So Microsoft abandoned the trademark for Blinx the Time Sweeper, to which Marty and I immediately went, oh my God, we have to buy this. Which started as a joke.
It's
and
not.
Did you actually look into it?
We're looking into it.
We're talking to IGN's attorneys about buying Blinx. Like, this is something.
Like, what would
Like,
it
he
take?
could be our mascot.
Well, we want to figure out what it would take
We're trying to figure out
own the trademark.
what it's going to cost. I mean, worst case, we find out it's prohibitively expensive, and then we like relate that to like, well, that's as expensive as 400 of these, right? Like that's a fun story. But
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out what it would cost. We are in the very early stages of finding out, because basically when you want to register a trademark, because there are other trademarks right now for Blinx, other things. So you have to, in your trademark application, distinguish what your application is for.
Yeah, what you're going to do with it.
So in our case, it would be Blinx, video games, computer
entertainment
games.
software.
Exactly.
Yes.
All those like 400 boring descriptors you see for video games, like PC software and CDs and DVDs and VHS, like all that garbage. Like, right, that's what you have to specify. Like, this is what this could be for.
All the stuff the lawyers make oodles of cash off of.
Yes. So we're in the process of finding out, like, hey, if we do a Blinx video game, what would that cost us?
So, and then we license it to Cappy. They make it.
God.
Boom. Time traveling cat returns 2017, mother
I wish I
effers.
brought my phone. I would text Nathan right now and ask him, hey, if we bought Blinx, would you make a game? I'll license it to you for free.
For nothing.
Yeah.
We'll just get points on the back end. That's all we want.
People found out we were doing this, like a few friends of ours, and every single one of them are like, "I'm not kidding. I will give you money.
Kickstarter.
Like, whatever it takes. I will co-invest in you owning Blinx the time."
I think it would require like an Indiegogo as opposed to a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't actually we wouldn't be able to promise you anything.
Yeah, we could promise you that we would own Blinx,
That's about it.
and that we would text Nathan and ask if he'd make a game.
Hey, make this really quick.
No big. You don't have other games.
And
in
if
the
he
works.
says no, who else?
who would you license?
Oh,
Blinx
I
Hideo
got it.
Kojima.
No, hold on.
He'll do something really interesting.
Yeah.
Who would definitely say no, but I'd love to see their take on it. Play Dead.
Oh my God.
After Limbo,
Yeah.
Inside, Blinx the
Blinx.
Return.
That would be
Oh
awesome.
my God. I'm gonna give it to Steve Gaynor and the
Ooh.
Fulbright Company.
Is it Team Eco that did
Yeah.
some of the bosses? That's
Yeah.
why I want to do it.
Perfect.
A very emotional story about a time traveling cat.
Tortured artist Fumito Ueda channeling that like despair into that
Well, hell, I
character.
could-
That would be
I'll
amazing.
I
we'll
love
just-
this plan.
I'm gonna call Telltale. They'll license anything. They'll make an adventure game out of it. It's just like, what do you want? What do you want to say in this scenario? That makes Blinx feel sad.
License it back to Microsoft. Throw it in Project
Meow,
Spark.
meow.
Speaking of which, where's Conker in Project Spark, yo?
Wait,
Remember
wait,
that?
wait.
Remember
I thought he
that?
just-
I do remember that, and
So he's
because it
not
makes me
there?
sad.
Not to my knowledge.
You actually did Project Spark. You
I mean,
played
yeah,
with
he
that
likes
game.
it. It's really
The
good.
game is awesome.
Yeah. I still have no idea what it is.
It is literally a game engine.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
No, I can't do that.
No, it's intense.
Next up, Microsoft has plans to update the avatars on Xbox for quote their biggest adventure yet.
Oh,
that
Mitch,
mean?
this news broke.
that
Talk
seems
to me.
very obvious.
I'll tell you what, I'm already bored.
Come on. Humor me.
All right, so Microsoft has a couple job listings for this. The description reads, as we cross the threshold to a unified operating system and product experience across Microsoft, going back to what Sean is saying, it is time for Xbox avatars to also advance to the next level.
Okay.
Level
Come
3.
with us as we take Xbox avatars on their biggest adventure yet, with higher fidelity and a bigger stage in the new Xbox experiences.
I don't know what
Did
any of
To me,
this
this
means.
says they're going to PC. Like, they're going to go to whatever the Microsoft gaming stuff is at the Windows 10 event.
Makes a lot of sense.
Avatars will be involved in that.
Did you guys watch Black Mirror, the episode where everybody uses avatars? Never mind. It's
Oh my
very
God.
depressed. But
I've only
that's what
seen
I
the
thought
first-
about taking
No.
them to the next
I've only
I
seen the
watched-
first two. Wait, I
That's
think
the
you're
second-
talking about the second
yeah,
episode.
with the
yeah.
bikes.
Yeah.
That whole episode was a criticism, and I was watching that and crying because it's basically just criticizing me for buying Dota hats.
Still,
Yeah.
my favorite use of avatars that pretty much can never be topped, and I always want to ask Phil about this when he's here, but I always run out of time. 1 versus 100, baby.
Oh,
you
yeah.
you and your buddy, all
Bring
your
that
avatars in
Actually,
the
they're all
in the
awesome.
Really good
arena.
idea.
No, it was all about Snoopy flying Ace, Boba Fett flying a Red Baron plane, shooting down like Ryan's avatar.
Oh.
So good.
Man,
Yeah, that Snoopy flying Ace game was awesome. Not a joke.
Does it? What's the point? Like, what would be the point of bringing Xbox avatars to a PC?
Implementing them into
they're already
PC
on
games.
your phone.
Yeah.
they're on
Okay.
Windows Phone, so it's
I wouldn't
just
have known
So-
that.
yeah.
Who has Windows
this
phones?
phrasing, their biggest adventure yet, made me immediately
Their
think it's
biggest adventure yet.
makes me think it's a new adventure game because they launched with.
Don't
Connect
take it that
Adventures.
literally.
No.
A marketing person slash
after reading the
recruiter wrote
quote,
this.
After reading the
Yeah.
what they're actually
Yeah.
doing.
We're talking about fake cartoon people here, which I guess is technically describing all video games, but whatever.
Well, I just mean the adventure game where you like hit balls or whatever, you know.
Connect Sports 900 coming
Yeah,
soon.
something like that.
Man,
I just don't. I don't get that.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
I'm having trouble wrapping my
Well,
head around why wouldn't.
it is very interesting though that avatars are another thing from the 360 days that have seemingly fallen by the wayside on Xbox One. I mean, they
Them and
don't
faceplates.
they don't do anything. There's nothing on Xbox One that involves your
I
avatars.
can't remember the last time I saw your avatar.
Well,
yeah.
the only time you see avatars anymore is if they're in a gamer picture.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If someone has taken, like, I spent real money on a Secret of Monkey Island T-shirt that says, I went looking for the treasure of Melee Island, and all I got was a stupid T-shirt, and I have a Avatar boxer puppy, so I've spent real cash, and
Yeah.
that's just gone.
Useless.
I mean, I got my money's worth out of it. Don't get me wrong, but
My avatar's like broken. Every time I see it on Xbox.com, it looks suicidal. It's like, I'm
sad.
offline. And it looks
Oh, yeah.
all sad.
He's so
I'm
sad
like,
to be
"What's
offline."
with the head
wrong
tilted
with him?"
down.
And the sheep is like jumping over his head over and over or whatever.
There's no sheep. He just looks
Oh, he's
really
just
sad.
dead.
And like he's frozen. But like
guy.
I'm online all the time.
so yeah, I agree with you guys. I think
I don't
yeah.
know what they're doing. but they
Windows
should
Windows
take a
avatars seems like the next logical move.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like if I was a PC gamer and I didn't have an Xbox, like and now they're telling me like I can create like as part of the Windows OS, I can create avatars for my personal sort of user profiles and stuff, and they'll interact with the OS with games
Oh
and
my
stuff.
God.
Like I just can't even wrap my head around how that sounds interesting.
It sounds like an enormous waste
So
of money.
what in a dream world that's not real, what I really want this to mean is Microsoft is working on, feasibly, working on a wearable smartwatch,
Oh God.
but with a holographic display so that my avatar like pops up as a hologram and reads me text messages and tells me the time and talks to
in
me.
your own voice.
In
Yes.
the voice of your friends.
I don't want
Yeah,
an
it's
avatar
whoever's
that
voice.
looks like me.
So that's what I want is
If
a
it's
little
watch thing.
holographic Jetsons watch.
I want Cortana.
There you go. That would be
Yeah.
cool.
That would be better.
But then again, that's not an avatar. That's Master Chief's avatar.
Yeah.
Interesting,
True.
I guess.
If
All
they're
right.
not sure what to do with the avatars, they should take a survey. You know who else took a survey recently? Everybody? I'm working on my segue.
Who? Destin Legary, 2015, ladies and gentlemen.
Ubisoft took a survey, or released a survey where they asked you where you'd like to see the next Far Cry game be set.
So to me, this doesn't indicate exactly what Ubisoft is planning for Far Cry 5.
No.
It's definitely just establishing tone, right? It's getting they're
Well,
gauging fans' interest in more ridiculous stuff than usual.
I gotta figure that everything that Mitch is about to read, because he's our biggest Far Cry
right,
fan,
got it.
is all about, like, all of these were at some point on a whiteboard at Ubisoft Montreal. And
this is like a brainstorming session.
So, Mitch, what are our hypothetical options for Far Cry 5 here?
Number one, and this is the game I expect Far Cry 5 will be, a Far Cry game in remote Alaska about surviving extreme wilderness.
I can see Russia from my backyard.
A Far Cry game in a futuristic sci-fi setting on another planet.
I'll be back.
That was Earth. A Far Cry game set in Vietnam War during the 1960s.
I'm Rambo.
What do you got? What do you got for that?
I'm Rambo.
Close enough. A Far Cry game set in the cocaine trafficking jungles of Peru.
What?
You think they're better than me?
I like the idea that the jungles are trafficking the cocaine. A Far Cry game where you can fight against or join vampires.
I want to suck your Far Cry.
A Far Cry game in spaghetti western style, set in the 19th century Americas.
Mitch, we already did this video back with Call of Juarez. Wee-haw! Call of Juarez. Another Ubisoft Ubisoft product. Available now on finer consoles everywhere. Woo!
A Far Cry game that is set during a zombie outbreak.
Brains.
Blood Dragon 2, a sequel to Blood Dragon. I hope that's the full title.
That's it?
Yeah.
Well, we need what's his face back from Terminator 1 to be the
Rex
voice.
Powercolt is the main character of Blood Dragon.
What's the actor's name again?
Oh, Michael Biehn.
That's
was
it.
actually
Thank you.
The actor?
Yeah, it was the guy from.
It was T-1000.
No, it
Or
was
no.
it was Kyle Reese.
What am I thinking? Yeah, Reese.
Kyle Reese.
A Far Cry game set in a Mad Max style post-apocalyptic world.
We need gas.
A Far Cry game set in the present day on a Jurassic Park style island of dinosaurs.
Clever girl.
Clever girl. That was good.
And probably the least inspiring answer so far, although I did like this part of Far Cry 4, a game based on the world of Shangri-La from Far Cry 4.
I got nothing.
Isn't Shangri-La in Uncharted?
Yeah.
Yes.
Spoiler.
2, right?
Way to ruin it, Sean.
How old is that game now? 7 years old? Come
Mitch,
on.
you think Alaska surviving
Yeah.
extreme wilderness is safe bet? What do you want from this list?
I want none of these. Like I think these are all.
You're a spoiled
These
gamer,
are all
Mitchell.
things
Yeah.
we've seen before.
Yeah, I mean, and the Alaska thing, I think they might be kind of hesitant to because the guy who was going to make the Alaska game went on and made that game.
All
It's
right, I
called
take
The
it
Long
back.
Dark.
It's not all things we've seen before. Like a sci-fi setting on a different planet, that would be pretty cool.
I just think that
We've never seen that before.
No, well, that's what I mean. It's like
Why would you ask people, like, what do you want?
because this is not them saying, do you want Vietnam? Do you want Blood Dragon? Do you want zombies? It's not them saying we want to make the one that you vote the highest.
Right.
It's them seeing, are people willing to let Far Cry
Turn into Saints Row.
become extreme? Exactly. Like, can we do zombies? Can we do vampires? Will people freak out?
So they're reading the reaction to the survey?
Yes, and figuring out
That makes
tonally
sense.
where Far Cry 5 can go. Because
Far Cry 5, Vampire Dragons.
these games
It sucks,
Ugh.
literally.
these games have always been, real world sort of grounded premise with sometimes some weird stuff that happens, whether it's like drugs or religious experiences or sci-fi alien monkey things in the original Far Cry. Far Cry 2 is basically like kind of straight-laced. But this is them seeing like, all right, how crazy can we get without people disliking Far Cry?
Yeah. I don't think they can do sci-fi futuristic. That's too far of a departure from the
Well, they did.
series.
Like Blood Dragon was the sweet one-off. I feel like that's
Yeah.
that's a one-off. I don't feel like that's a series.
Yeah, and I feel like
That's a one-note joke.
I don't know if you can
a
bottle
great
that
joke.
lightning twice either. Here's the
too.
Far Cry zombie game. Okay, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Goodbye.
also just zombies. Come on.
Yeah.
So tired of them nowadays, right?
Still like them.
There's room for zombies. in
Mitch
Mitch's
Dyer of
life.
IGN.com says zombies. Still like 'em. Oh my goodness. All right. And a couple more stories this week. First up, this is a big one. This one matters.
Yeah.
Xbox One developers given more power to work with, according to a leaked XDK software development kit. Basically, it states that the documents reportedly reveal that since October, which was the last XDK rev, there's probably been more since then, but Microsoft opened up access to another 50 to 80% of a 7th processing core of the console's 8 total processing cores to developers. The 7th is one of the 2 cores previously reserved for background system operations, which is similar to how the PS4 works as well. So
So are they opening like one a year? Or what's going on?
but basically, the cost of this is that you'll need to forego using custom game-specific voice commands. So let's say if you were playing with like one of Destin's favorite games, Rainbow Six 3, on the original Xbox, where you'd be like, go, go, go! You would theoretically...
For that, though.
Right, but...
in Mass Effect 3,
you still need
say
processing
grenade
power
and people
for
would
it.
throw grenades.
Right. That's a more Destin with the more current example than my 12-year-old horrible example, Rainbow Six 3. Like how I'm old. But so game-specific voice commands and infrared and depth functionality of the Kinect. So basically, the camera of Kinect 2 would have to be sacrificed.
The thing they sold.
But I mean, we see Halo 5 seems to have making zero use of Kinect, just as Halo 4 made zero use of Kinect.
There must have been a study. Nobody.
Sunset Overdrive, another, does really nothing with the Kinect. It auto records clips annoyingly.
Oh,
basically
that's
every
so
game,
frustrating.
every game that I've played on Xbox One that automatically records cool things is just annoying. Peggle was like the first one. I was reviewing that game.
Killer Instinct Classic.
Killer Instinct does.
Every time you finish a match, it says game clip recorded.
No, dude.
Yeah,
Get that video off my machine.
No,
Peggle-
I just did that 20 times.
Peggle 2, as great a game as it is, would record shots that actually weren't good. Like, game clip recorded. Like, nope, gotta go delete that now.
Super frustrating.
But,
I remember playing through Sunset Overdrive and being like, I want to disable the game DVR entirely. Just
and
because it's so aggravating.
The only thing Forza Horizon 2 does is you can voice navigate some GPS stuff, which is actually useful. But yeah, I mean, most of the major first-party, major Xbox One exclusives, Titanfall, aren't doing anything with Kinect anyway. So, I mean, what I see here, tell me what you guys think, is Microsoft just continuing to make the Xbox One more and more like the 360 in terms of just walking it back and back and back to a pure core games machine and less. They're walking further away from that sort of all-in-one TV entertainment set, vision that they initially laid out.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that's good or bad. That's my observation of the situation.
I think that's the influence of Phil.
Yeah.
Xbox One is pitched and conceived as the all-in-one entertainment system.
Right.
And then Phil comes aboard and goes, no, it's games.
Cynically, you could also say, well, the PS4, which has cut out pretty much all of those entertainment-y functions, has 18.5 million sold, and it has a huge lead. And I guess we'd better try to get back to games and make up some lost ground. So I think there's maybe a little truth to either one there. But either way, I mean, it means in the end we're gonna get better games. We're gonna get whether it's frame rates, resolutions, particle effects or visual effects. There's a little more juice to work with there. It's just like wringing a little extra aspiration out of your twin turbo V8 car.
I'm glad it's happening. I hope that they need to keep basic Kinect functionality, like the camera needs to be there and the mic needs to work. But besides that, I can see them moving further away from anybody using the Kinect.
It remains to be seen how much this will actually afford developers, in terms of measurable quality sort of benchmarks. But what I really like is, or what I really applaud Microsoft for doing is recognizing that that's something that needed to be done.
Yeah.
Or, continuing to want to iterate on the hardware that they've developed. Make it better, make it more accessible for developers. That's awesome. They could have just been nope, you deal with what's there. But their willingness to want to work with developers to get them the best tools that they need for the job, that's admirable.
You guys will all probably roll your eyes, but as a car guy, what this made me think of for some reason is it reminded me that Forza Motorsport 5, launch title, gorgeous game, fantastic game, 1080p 60, interior, cockpit stuff, gorgeous tracks, gorgeous cars, was basically made with rubber bands and duct tape of alpha kits and in progress hardware. Inevitably, Forza Motorsport 6 is going to be announced this year because they're on the every 2 years cycle with Horizon Motorsport. Think that Motorsport 6 now will be not only have the benefit of building off of the tech improvements that Playground made for Horizon 2 because they share the same base engine, But man, like they're gonna have. Think of how much more power that they have access to now that for Motorsport 6 that they didn't have for Motorsport 5. Now that they've opened up all these extra CPU and GPU reserves, Forza Motorsport 6 gonna be sick.
Yeah.
At least in the graphics department.
I will look at that game.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It's just you don't have to race, just drive.
Just
Mitch.
look at stuff.
Just gotta drive.
Just bust up some cars and whatever, man. That's how I play Forza.
Mitch Dyer, whatever.
I bust
man.
up some cars and whatever, man.
That's then Forza Horizon's the game for you.
That's really true, actually.
All right, I'm gonna go to Destin with our final news item of the week. It's up your alley, my friend. Some naughty somebody snapped themselves a picture of a slide that they weren't supposed to take a picture of.
Yeah, and it's Destiny's...
Allegedly,
it's Destiny's 2015 content schedule, including something called Comet: Plague of Darkness, which should hit in September, and that was the big highlight. It includes 12 new story missions, 4 new strikes, along with the new public events, patrols, and a new raid.
That sounds like as much content as in Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more than 12 there's more than 12 story missions, but yeah, that's almost a whole new game.
Not by much though, right?
That sells for $40.
No, there's like
How many
7 on
story
Earth.
messages
There's
are
like
there?
7 on Earth,
Okay.
and then 7 on Moon, and then
yeah, there's more.
on the Moon, yeah.
So,
That's a lot.
what do you think? I mean, are you stoked for this? You got September. I mean, are you ready?
I don't know what it is. Like, I'm
Well,
a little confused by it.
back in the day-
I almost wonder if they're semi-happy that this happened, or if it was one of those. I don't think it was on purpose, but I almost wonder if they're just like, hey, look at what's coming out. We're still cool, right?
Right.
And this came out in October, actually. This image was floating around since October.
Oh wow, it only just
So-
got picked up now. Huh?
Yeah, and it only got picked up now. So this could be outdated. Comet could come out December of next
Right.
year. Comet could be Destiny 2 for all we know.
Right. I mean, back in the day, we would call this an expansion pack.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what it sounds like it is.
And that wasn't the only thing on there. So there's
No, there were other deals.
House of Wolves,
Yeah.
which we all think is March anyway, was on there for March.
Right.
And the one that's already out, Dark Below, that was also
December,
on there.
yeah.
And then there was Comet in the middle, and then there's 2 packs after that.
Woo!
So
It's a lot.
it's almost like the entire roadmap for Destiny 1. That's what it looked like to me anyway. Before
probably
it was
is.
released. I think Destiny 1 will last us until early 2016, but that's like the end of its life cycle, and then
You think so? Because to me, as far as new content, or that's when you think Destiny 2 is going
I
to
think
come
the
out?
player base is going to hit that bell curve very soon, like in March. I thought it would die down a lot more, but the DLC came out.
Raids, bro.
Dark
People
Below.
love them.
There's more players on than when the game launched. now.
Well, everybody got it for Christmas.
Yeah,
For the holidays.
Yeah, so
which
I
is
have
great.
I gauge how active the community is based on how many people are playing on my friends list.
sure.
I have 4 pages of friends on it any time. At its low point, it was like 1.5 pages.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I mean, we're tangentially on the subject. When do you think we're going to see Destiny 2? Which, by the way, I think, who is it? Vince is going to owe me. I think owes me steak dinner on that one. Speaking of bets.
Why they
I'm
said
on
there wouldn't be a
Vince's
sequel?
side,
He
but I
said
did
there
not
wouldn't be.
make the bet.
But yeah, what do
What
you
was
think?
the bet?
That Destiny
there
will
wouldn't
not
be
have
a
a numbered Destiny
a
sequel.
proper full sequel. That'll just be like
add
on.
They haven't said it's going to be called Destiny 2.
What if it's called Destiny Plague of Darkness? Is that a sequel?
If it's a full retail sequel that doesn't require Destiny 1, it counts
Got it.
as a.
All right.
I
So
think it'll
what do
be-
you think?
I accept those terms.
I think it'll be announced late this year
Yeah,
for 2016.
you think so?
You think they'll do that if they're going to be releasing content through the year?
2 teams. I mean, they got a pretty big.
for
team
me,
over
I
there.
just worry about cannibalization.
Well,
maybe
for me, it's that
2017. I'll say
Bungie-
geez, that's such a big roadmap for that game. It's a 10-year franchise, right?
Yeah.
That we know that for sure. This game launched in 2014,
14.
15. Yeah, end of 2016 is the window.
I think you're optimistic. So for me, it's outside of ODST, which was an expansion type project, a one-off project. Bungie is always taken 3 years to make their games.
Okay, then I'll say
Not saying
I'll say 2017 then, end of 2017, because you're right about developing all this content. They need that buffer.
I'm not saying they couldn't do a game in 2 years, but historically, there's like everything from Halo 1 to 2 to 3 to reach. It was all, and then of course Destiny 1 took a lot longer than that. So I can't see with a game the size of Destiny that them turning around the full proper sequel in 2 years. I'd be pretty surprised, but I guess we'll see. Mitchell Dyer, anything we can spend our holiday gift cards on?
Not at retail,
marketplace.
but if you have some Xbox dollars on Xbox One, you can get Funk of the Titans. I don't know what this is. I think it's a side-scroller. I heard about it this week for the first time.
Yeah, there's
ever.
a trailer on IGN. It's it looks like it could have some cool personality. I don't know how. I haven't played it, so I don't know how good the actual platform is.
I did a Daily Fix episode where this was one of the stories.
You hosted?
No.
Sean's producing this week.
You play Perseus, son of Zeus, but he's like a funk-style Perseus, and he knows
Right.
Funk
Nice.
Fu, and it's a side-scroller.
All right, I can get down with that.
All right.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. I thought you were talking about the next God of War for a second.
Oh.
And I was like, wow, they went a weird route.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the marketplace is a new G-Shock car pack for Forza Horizon 2. And the games with gold for January. Ryan called this one D4, Dark Dreams Don't Die.
Well,
on
yeah,
Xbox
we were
One.
talking about how the game didn't sell, and we were like, maybe it should be a free game then.
Yeah.
Here we go. Go play it.
Everyone's
notice.
seen
It's
I've heard
fun.
good
It's a good
likes
game.
It seems really cool.
Yeah. It's actually
It seems really weird.
Yeah.
and I don't
Sure,
mean
that's not bad.
I don't mean this in
No,
a
not at all.
disparaging way. I actually think it's a perfect game for a free game with gold. I'm not saying it's not worth money. I'm not saying that at all. But
it's like, man, that game's free? Awesome, I'll totally play
right,
it.
it's precisely the kind of weird game where you might not necessarily want to, pull out your wallet. But if it's just offered to you, then you're going to play it, really like it. And then this game is supposed to be episodic.
Yeah.
So if you like this first one, all right, first taste is free, and then you'll be more inclined to buy episode 2.
On Xbox 360, you get MX vs. ATV Alive until January
Which was pretty
15th.
good
Was
also.
it?
Yeah.
Who made that? Was this a THQ jam,
It
or was this
was-
after somebody else bought it?
Well, I think it was, and then if I recall correctly, it was either, if not Rainbow Studios, it was former Rainbow people.
Okay.
And they were actually based out of Arizona, like the only Arizona developer, and that's. For those that don't know, it's the same team that had done all those very good MX and ATV games. So I think this was in good hands.
All right, so that's a legit game.
Yeah.
But the back half of the month for 360, man, you get The Witcher 2 for free from the 16th
Dude,
that
to
is
the
so
31st.
smart.
Dude,
Plus
And
all the
a great-
DLC is free for that game? Are you kidding
guess
me?
what?
That is such a great move.
It's going to... So Witcher 3 comes out in May. You're going to need those 4 months just to finish The
God, yeah.
Witcher 2.
Dude, The Witcher 2 is amazing.
Which you'll have not paid for.
It is so good. If you don't download this, you are insane. It's
Yeah.
all you have to do is initiate the download. It's yours forever. You can cancel it if you don't want it.
Is
taking
this,
up hard drive
is
space
this
right now,
easily
but-
the best game with gold ever so
Yes!
far?
It's so good. This game is incredible.
Every time I hear Xbox, I'm like, oh, wait, is it the 15th yet? Because I'm waiting to download this. I never played Witcher 2, and this
Oh
is
my
the
God, dude.
perfect time to do
Yeah.
it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I played through that game on PC, and I think it's better on PC for numerous reasons. But still, like, it's an awesome Xbox 360 port. They did a really, really good job with it.
I will say, so to your point, I mean, it's definitely better on PC if you've got the hardware
Yes.
for it. But Witcher 1 was more of a bit rougher of a port on
Yes.
360, but The Witcher 2 on 360.
Well, The Witcher never came to 360.
I
ended
thought
up-
it did.
White Wolf got canceled. You probably saw it like 4 preview events.
Maybe.
But it got
All right.
canceled.
Anyway, I remember Witcher 2 being a pretty good 360
Yeah,
version.
no, it was awesome. It's on like 2 or 3 discs too, because it's huge.
Mitch, I have to ask you,
yeah, what do you-
Witcher 2, it's really good.
Yeah.
Do I need to play Witcher 1?
No.
They're totally separate experiences,
No.
right?
So it is a narrative continuation of the first game.
Yeah.
But the narrative in the first game is super convoluted and confusing.
Okay.
But basically, all you need to know is that Geralt of Rivia, the main character, wakes up one day, he's lost his memory, and he's trying to reclaim it. And there's all these different factions. Like and it's like super heavy lore stuff. But
Who are you
could-
working for?
You could read a quick wiki thing. Altano and I, in my first like a couple weeks here, we did a quick feature that's just like, hey, Witcher 2's coming to 360. Didn't play the first one. Here's like a couple things you need to know right now. But yeah, it's not super essential. Like
We should resurface that in
Having
The
Next
Witcher in
week.
5 minutes.
we should probably update it.
having played Mass Effect, I'm terrified of like playing one of these games and like missing out on like Mass Effect
Yeah.
1. Like had I only played Mass
No.
Effect 2 and I never experienced Mass Effect 1, it would be hard to go back.
Yeah, I mean, as a standalone story, The Witcher 2 is awesome, but there's a lot of finer details. Like, people will reference parts of the world without actually contextualizing it.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's not like you need to know it. It's just confusing in the sense that this world has existed without you, and they talk about it as though you're not there.
Awesome.
All right, let's take it home here. We're keeping score per a listener suggestion. We used to do this at my old podcast anyway, and it was pretty
I like
fun.
this is fun.
Yeah, so, and of course, Marty, it's his fault for not being here. It's his fault
He
for,
gets negative points.
for working in Las Vegas. Wah! So,
To be fair, Vegas kind of sucks.
2 days.
not this time of year. During the summer, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Well, it's 108 degrees
I
during
just
the
think
summer.
it's a gross and weird
Drunk
place.
people
Yeah,
all the time. It's annoying.
yeah. It's
Vegas is awesome for one day at a time.
Yep.
Any
Exactly.
longer and it becomes horrible.
Devin Piper. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm gonna go with Piper because
his
his
name-
gamer tag is
Devin.
the Pie Piper,
Yeah.
but P-I-E, like literally the dessert pie Piper.
Devin Pieper.
So Devin wins a free video game. We've had, by the way, I just want to thank everybody. So many of you listeners kindly donated your Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag codes from the bundle you
Oh,
bought or
awesome.
got for
Oh,
Christmas.
that's great.
I have enough games. I mean, it's mostly, I think there might be maybe a couple Limbos still in there. I'd have to dig through the email, but a lot of copies of Assassin's Creed 4 for Xbox One. So we've got
That's a cool
a
giveaway.
really cool prize for the next foreseeable future, thanks to crowdsourcing, thanks to you, the listeners. So
You guys are the best.
yes, you guys are the best. Thank you so much. And so, Devin, if you don't already have Assassin's Creed 4 and you've got an Xbox One, you'll win that. Otherwise, I'll get you something cool, and you'll win for me selecting this question from Devin. You can friend him on Xbox Live, the Pie Piper, but P-I-E-P-E-R, all separate words.
The space pie space Piper.
Yes. So, gentlemen, here we go. I think this one's pretty easy. I hope you get it. What was the first ever gamer tag registered on Xbox Live? Was it Xbox Live? Because remember, there could be test game. You could register anything for Xbox Live, Bill Gates, the letter E, or XX Bong Ripper 420 spelled in Leet style. Which one do you gentlemen think was the very first gamer tag registered? I'm going to go to Mitch Dyer first because I see the confidence in his eyes.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure that I know this one. I'm almost certain, like 99.9% sure that it is C, the letter E. Because that's the
My head just exploded.
that's the gamer tag, a friend of the show, Eric Newstetter, who's the architect of Xbox Live.
Yeah.
He's a guru of Xbox Live for sure.
That sounds like a smart choice. I have no idea, so I will also say C.
Piggyback those coattails to victory,
Exactly.
Sean.
You seem really confident, Mitch. I'm gonna believe in your confidence.
I kept thinking, I'm like, Eric Newstetter. I know that name. The letter E seems like something. Yeah, I'm gonna go with C.
All right, we're all in agreement. I, of course, ineligible because I saw the answer. And then it's Sean. Yeah, everybody gets a point this week.
Yeah.
In the
Eric
future,
Newstetter.
when I have a astounding lead over everyone on this podcast, what I'm going to do when I think Destin knows the answer and I don't know, I'm going to
Throw
be
him
like,
off the trail?
Nah, man. Nah, it's totally D. You don't know what you're talking about. And then Destin's going to go, oh, man. I also picked D, and Destin won't get any points, but neither will I because I don't know the answer.
Mitch, you will never have more or less points than me because I'm always going to choose the same answer as you. Strategy.
Viable
man.
tactic.
Not bad.
I'm just gonna
Finnegan.
pick the right answer.
Just always guess C, and
When
you'll
Mitch-
probably do pretty well. That's the secret. So, Devin Piper, thanks for sending in that question. You win yourself a copy of Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag for Xbox One, courtesy of many, many listeners. So thanks to all of you. And it's time to go. This was episode 177, our first episode of 2015.
23 until 200. We really got to figure out what we're doing with that.
Crap, yeah, I should probably start. Well, we decided it's going to be
kinda
like
punch
right
and pop.
after E3 or
So
right.
I think
I
that
gotta
we-
check the calendar.
So I think we assumed that E3 was at the same time it normally is. It is not. It is later in the
Crap.
month. So I think it does overlap.
That would be horrible.
Are
but
we in the
possibly
same
also
location
amazing?
for E3 this year? Because we can start pre-planning now. For
But remember,
that.
there was an issue with like security and
Yeah,
having
exactly. Pre-plan now
Yeah.
and get the
All
budget
right.
for it and whatever we need.
It's not bad.
That's
you
not
know.
a bad idea.
I love
Talk-
that idea.
let's
All right,
to
I'll
Dave.
look at the calendar. So yeah, you're right. 200 is
that's a great idea.
not too far away. First, plugging stuff. I'm obliged. I've been asked by my bosses to plug one of three things. I don't remember the other two because they were super pluggy. But the one I actually legit believe in, for sure. Hope my boss isn't listening to this. IGN Prime, because I'm sure the other two things.
You hope
are-
he's not listening to you plug Prime?
No, I hope he's not
Talk
listening.
trash about the other
yeah,
things
listening
we
to me
promoted.
diss the other two things. But no, IGN Prime's legit. $30 a year. IGN.com/Prime will get you primarily no video ads before you watch videos on IGN,
So good.
but also beta access to games, free games, but mostly the lack of ads is a good thing, and you're just you feel good. It's like you're helping keep the roof over our heads, which we really appreciate.
Because our roof is broken.
Yeah, it's leaking. Please help.
It actually is.
Yeah.
During the mega storm last month, we had like drip drip.
Yeah.
Slight rain. Guess I can't come into the office.
Yeah, I go. Okay. I guess I'll work from home, meaning sleeping. So that's it. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at DMC_Ryan. Destin Lagaria, what are you plugging, my friend?
Okay, so
this is going to be. I'm going to kick back.
All right, guys.
Experimental. Jose Otero came to me. He played a bunch of Destiny, and he's like, "What would you think about trying to do a Destiny podcast?" So we're gonna try
Destiny
this
cast?
experiment.
Yeah.
Jose's gonna host, and the first episode should be launching tomorrow.
Nice.
Also tomorrow.
That's a great idea.
Also, yeah, like I have a lot of confidence in that franchise. Clearly, it's not going away.
Correct.
All these outlets are writing about it. We're all hooked. We're not going to go anywhere, so we are going to start a group where we talk about what's going on with that game. Additionally, I'm coming out with an article, 29 of Destiny's biggest flaws.
Ooh la la.
That has a watch read component, so hopefully you guys can join our discussion there about our issues with a game we love.
So if we just follow you on Twitter, we'll know when that podcast hits.
Yeah,
we'll know where to get
at
it.
Destin Lagaria. That's the best place to follow for when I plug stuff because I link to it. So,
Sounds good. Mitch Dyer.
Shot a video with Eric Martin, our community manager, about all those wacky Far Cry games we talked about this episode. You can go watch that. We talk a bit about your suggestions and feedback on all of those entries. I'm doing the review of iDarb on Xbox One, so look out for that. TBD
I drew a red
when.
box.
Which I
Are you
found
under
out.
embargo?
No
embargo.
I also have not played it.
Oh, okay.
So I have no
We
idea
just got it today.
I played it at Gamescom briefly, and it was pretty interesting.
So I've never seen this game. I just keep hearing people talk about it. And Dan's like, "Do you want to review it?" And I said, "Yes." And I don't know what this is. So I'm going in completely
can't wait.
blind.
That's good.
Starting tomorrow, I'm going to be in like a Let's Play room or a bay, capturing with a ton of people. Subscribe to IGN Arena, youtube.com/IGN Arena. We talk about MOBAs and esports. It's wonderful.
I'm on it this week.
You are talking about Counter-Strike and the future of video games.
And we'll follow you at Mitchie D.
Thank you. Please do.
Sean?
Me and Ryan did a really cool Halo 5 beta Let's Play where we show off Eden, which is the remix of Empire.
And we're gonna
It's pretty
do
cool.
we're gonna do Regret and Trench too.
More on the way. In
what
fact,
do you think about that, Matt?
Yeah, I don't like
We
Empire.
analyzed
gotta
the hell
watch
out of it.
video, man. I like it is the short answer.
All right, cool.
But that and like Ryan said, more Let's Plays from Halo 5 are going to be on the way, so keep an eye on the site for that. That one about Eden is already live. So.
And speaking of Halo 5, of course the beta's live now. Come play with me. Gamertag Scorched Phoenix. Need good people to play with.
Yeah.
We have IGN First for this month, by the way, which is our little preview initiative, our magazine cover story, as it were, is all about the hot games of 2015. So instead of one game for the whole month, we're doing over a dozen games. Just every game gets a day. So
New info on like 12
new.
games.
It's something new, something exclusive. So we've given you a reason to click on every game. So we kicked off with Halo 5. 2 new map reveals, which are ones you have to go to Halo Waypoint to vote which one you want for the final week of the beta. So one's called Orion, one's called Pegasus. We have video of both, along with a pretty meaty interview with Josh Holmes, the studio head at Halo 5 at 343. So check that out. And then today, as we record, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, which Jose Otero put together for 3DS. And
Game
then
is so good.
Yeah.
I've never played a Monster Hunter game, but that is the one where I'm like, yes, I am on board. This is incredible.
And Friday, we're going to have some new interesting stuff on Dead Island 2.
Nice.
And then there's a lot more the rest of the month.
Yeah, I'm playing a game right now for First that
Yes.
like I keep not writing the preview I'm doing because I keep going back to like sit on the menu and listen to music and play a bunch more and replay levels. Like,
So-
I'm really digging this
So
game.
yeah, there'll be actually I need to tweet out the like hub page for it, because then you can just bookmark it, and I'll be updating it with links to every game all month long. So yeah, a little bit of a different thing for IGN First this month, and then next month we're getting back to sort of the usual one game blowing it out all month long with a bunch of different stuff. But for this month, it's a fun experiment.
Man, we're gonna lose Marty for another. He probably won't be here next week either.
Yeah, Marty is he's on assignment
yeah.
for me next week for IGN First. So
It's gone.
yeah, I appreciate that. Just making sure.
I am
making
so jealous he gets to do this one. He's the guy for it, but man.
Yeah. So
And then I'm gone for another trip the week after that. So you're gonna be down a bunch of dudes this
sheesh.
month.
Well, I guess that means more Max Scoville.
Yeah.
Which means you will be out of a podcast job by the time you get back, because everybody will just fall in love with Max.
Hey guys, I came back. I brought you meatballs. Don't you know? You don't love me anymore.
No, we still love you, Mitch. All right, this was Podcast Unlocked, episode 177. I want to thank everybody for listening, hopefully all year long. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
We're the world's #1 Xbox podcast. That's Sean Finnegan, Mitch Dyer, Destin Legary, Max Scoville you met earlier, Marty Sleva, hi in Las Vegas, and I'm Ryan McCaffrey, and we will see you guys next week.